Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you how to create the look for the Doch fashion show taking place on June 17th at 3:30 a.m. on Fashion Art Toronto's website and their Instagram. Huge thank you to everyone at Doch, as well as our makeup director, Rachel Jones at Be Pretty MUA, for allowing me to show you how to get the look for the show. I've gone ahead and shown you how to do it with a lip color, but for the show, models will be wearing a face mask. So keep the makeup above your kind of mask line and there's no lip because we do not want any type of makeup to transfer to our face mask. If you are going to be wearing a look like this kind of out, because you know, it's a fairly simple bronzy smoky eye, at the end of the video, I shared with you a few different lip colors to try out if you want to wear something like this out since things are starting to open up. So without any further ado, let's jump right into this video. To start off our look, I'm going to go ahead and apply an eye primer to my eyes. The way you prime your eyes is different for everyone. I like to use a dedicated eye primer, but you can easily use your foundation or concealer. Use whatever you feel like works best to keep your eyeshadow on and to make it last. We want to apply a nice kind of soft brown wash all over the eyelid. You can use an eyeshadow if you want. I really enjoy using a bronzer. We're gonna wash it from lash line to just above our socket line. And if you're not sure on how far to take up your eyeshadow, if you kind of press on your eye and you feel where the round of the ball of your eye is, you wanna go just above that. So that way you can see smokiness once the eye is open. Take a little bit more with my eye open, just run it right under the lash line. So now that we have the general wash of color all over our eyelid, we want to add a little bit of depth. You can continue to build with your bronzer color or whatever type of color you use to apply all over your eye, or you can use an eyeshadow that's just a little bit darker. If you're using your bronzer, it will just take a little bit longer to build up the intensity you need to get that separation of color, to get that true kind of gradation. If you've got an eyeshadow that is a little bit darker, what I like to do is kind of mix between the two shades. That way you're getting a nice kind of mid-tone. With our eyes open, pat a little bit just in this kind of outside corner. And right where that eyelid, where we took that shadow up to, you just want to apply a little bit there. It's messy, it's okay, you're gonna blend it. You can now use a separate brush to go through and blend this. Just to make things a little bit easier, I like to take a paper towel or a microfiber cloth, off all of that excess product on my brush, and use the point of that brush, hold it very lightly, and you are just gonna do little circles. And as you get less product that is spreading, you can take it towards the inner corner of your eye, following the round of your eye. So when you're blending, feel the shape of your eye with the brush. Let your brush hug around the contour of the ball of your eye. Use a pale shimmery eyeshadow, or you can use your face highlight. I'm just going to wipe this over the eyelid. And I really like to focus this color on the inside corner of my eye, and we're gonna stay just under that socket line. I like to keep a separate brush completely clean just now to go through and blend everything together. And when you're blending, it's a mix of little buffing circular motions and a windshield wiper back and forth. So you are just going to keep blending. Now we want to go in and we want to tight line our upper lash line. We're going to go from underneath and do the rim of our upper eyelid. Get any little smudges that go under here. Just use your finger or a cotton bud to wipe it away. If anything goes up here, that's fine, because what we're gonna do now, then we are just gonna do a series of dashes right along the top of our lashes. That you've kind of got that line on, you want to go through and buff it out. So you can use your bronzer shade again. You might need to build it up a little bit, or if you have that darker eyeshadow color, you can use that color on its own on a small brush. This part, if you don't have a small brush like this, you can also use a cotton bud. Just gently go back and forth over that black liner you applied. Small brush, take your bronzer color, buff over the line we just buffed out. If you've got anything that kind of transferred down to this lower lash line, you can use your cotton bud to gently buff over it to soften that out. That first brush that we used and buff over. Then once I get to this outside corner, I just like to connect the upper and the lower with a soft line. Take your large fluffy brush that we've been keeping clean just to blend. You are going to just buff over. Since we were just working with powders, I like to take a little bit of a micellar water and a cotton round, and then even if you don't see anything that looks like it fell down, go ahead and wipe over, because there will always be a little bit of color that fell down. Foundation, concealer on top, it can make it look really muddy and kind of shadowy. So I always like to clean up. Don't worry too much about your lower lash line, because once we get our base product on, we will go through and perfect that. For the runway show, there will be a face mask. So you will have fabric covering the lower half of your face. We take our face mask, hold it up to our face along this cheek where it hits. You don't want any type of base makeup to transfer onto the mask. So if you are gonna apply an all over foundation or concealer, you need to make sure it's gonna be something that isn't going to transfer. And ideally, you don't want to have so much coverage, because once you take the mask off, you don't want to see this sharp line between where your complexion makeup stops and your skin starts. So I like to use something very long wear. I am a big fan of Estee Lauder Double Wear because it doesn't move. Little tricky to get off, but it stays in place when you need it to. You're gonna place the brush or your sponge with the foundation where you want the most coverage, and then you are gonna blend out. It's gonna give you coverage where you want, but it's gonna leave a more sheer effect where you don't need as much coverage. Easier to build up than to take away, because the only way to take away foundation is to remove it. And then you could remove eye makeup, you're gonna start from scratch. So take a little bit, spend a little bit more time if you are gonna do this, and build slowly. Once you have a sheer layer on, you can kind of see for me that even though I stopped my foundation right here, just by having that coverage here, it's kind of made the area below my cheek where I don't have foundation a little bit more evened. If you're wearing to look like this out during the day, or you're going out at night, feel free to apply your foundation all over like normal. Just for our models walking the show, since they are going to be wearing face masks, we don't want makeup to transfer to the face mask. So I'm gonna go through and finish off the makeup on the lower half of my face, and I will be right back. At this point, if you've got the foundation on and you feel like this kind of darker eye makeup compared to the more evened out skin tone is exaggerating darkness under the eye, you can go in with your concealer. We're just going to set everything we just applied. We want to add a little bit of dimension to the face. So once again, if we think about where our mask is going to hit us, we have our kind of upper cheekbone area to apply. A brush, pick up a little bit of my powder highlighter, and I'm going to apply that just on top of the cheekbone. So if you're unsure where to apply it, if you use your finger, you will feel the bone of your cheek, and you can just go right on top of that. Remember where you want to stop the makeup, where your mask is going to be. Right above that line, take your bronzer and just do big circles. You're almost doing like a C shape up towards the center of your hairline. We've got color on the eyes, we've got color on the cheek, but the cheek and the complexion can feel very kind of flat. So I like to take a little bit of a blush. You can either use a pink, you can use a coral, you can use an orange, use whatever color that you like for your skin tone. I'm gonna use a more like pinky coral color. First eyeshadow brush, pick up a little bit of my bronzer, and I want to tilt my chin back and buff just under my eye, hugging right where the round of my eye is. Cotton bud, pick up a little bit of my darkest shadow. You can also do this with your bronzer. You just might need to build it up a little bit. I'm gonna hug right on my lower lash line. We're gonna apply a few coats of black mascara to our upper and lower lash line. Once you have your mascara on, you're gonna notice it really changes the look. And the look, once you have mascara on, will be a little bit different for everyone because we all have different eye shapes. So for me, if I look in my mirror, it's really not that dark. However, where my lower eye rounds, it looks a lot more intense than it does in person to person. So keep that in mind when you're doing your eye look. The clear eyebrow gel. So this is gonna kind of be the look for the show. You can see where we've got the mask on. It's gonna really draw emphasis into the eyes. If you wanna wear a look like this out, then you might want to play with some different colors. So I'm gonna show you how with a few different lip colors. So the first color I paired with this look is more of like a plummy brown tone. I love how this really kind of plays off the color of the eyes, really kind of picks up on that darker tone, makes the eyes look a little bit more sultry. And this type of look I love for like going out in the fall when you want to feel a little bit vampy, but you don't want too much. Another fun way I like to pair a look like this is to pair it with a little bit more of like a salmony pink. For me, it's almost like a nude, but it's got a little hit of color to it. So you kind of get to play with the eye and the lip having their own levels of intensity, but you don't have to worry too much about competing. Additionally, when you think about a smoky eye, it's often associated with a nude lip, so you can easily throw on your favorite nude lipstick and call it a night. Get the look for the Doch fashion show, which taking place at 3:30 a.m. on the Fashion Art Toronto website. Huge thank you to everyone at Doch, as well as our makeup director, Rachel Jones at Be Pretty MUA, for allowing me to show you how to get the look. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, y'all.